Hey everyone, it's Ellen Juddy, your PLC lead for high school dance on the Godot Communities website. I am back for the third and final segment of my assessment webinar. I'm in the bubble again. I was trying to break out of the bubble, but I did want to share my screen with you, so I just did it this way. I wanted to talk about some other assessment ideas. We went over in the first segment, we went over just a review of diagnostic, formative, and summative assessments. In the second, and what they were and what they might look like in your dance classroom. And then the second segment, we went over some technique assessment ideas. No matter what technique you're doing a Western technique, you're doing African Bollywood, any way to assess that kind of thing that you're doing. And then I thought it might be a good idea to look at just different assessments, not just a rubric, but a meaningful worksheet. And I know you're thinking, what? A worksheet in technology land? Sounds crazy, I know. But for my grad class, I'm having to create a very big curricula. And my professor has done a lot of research and written a lot about meaningful worksheets. And so she's asking us as students of hers to add that kind of thing in to our big curricula that we're going to implement actually this semester in our classes. So I wanted to share with you a few of the worksheets that I've created or like put in the curricula. Just to give you a quick little background, the big curricula has 6 units that I've been creating. And it is a dance curricula, but it does focus on other things. There are some of the lessons that there's no dance. So I'm going to quick go through the title just so you have context. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but my first session is cultural awareness. My second one is who are you? So that would be them sort of telling me about their own culture in many ways. Then know your neighbor is the third session, and that's sort of getting to know your friends or your people in your class's culture. The fourth session is social justice and cultural awareness. Fifth one is diversity in dance. And then number 6 is what's your dance? So for this particular assignment, I've only elaborated and created worksheets for just 2. So I've done the cultural awareness and the who are you sessions, and that's what I've created the worksheets for. So I'm going to just go through that and just show you what I've done. This first one is the culture iceberg. Now, I certainly didn't create this, and I will make sure there are references in the discussion so you know where I got some of this. I thought this was pretty cool. So it's this picture that the kids will look at, and they take a second, they look at it, and then literally they just jot down the first 5 things that come to their mind when you look at this picture. So throughout the lesson, we're talking about just cultural awareness in all shapes and forms. So a lot of this is reflective writing or just like jotting down their thoughts. So that's the first one. And then I made a cultural awareness and diversity handout. And this just asks them some questions. So again, this is asking them, what is cultural awareness? This one is sort of a diagnostic, right? And so is this one pretty much a diagnostic assessment just to see where they're at and what they know, what they understand. Do they know what cultural awareness is? Do they know what diversity is? What does it mean to you? So lots of reflective writing. So have that. And then there's a glossary of terms. That's not really a worksheet. These are my slides. Bear with me. Okay. Then I've got, this would be your, this could be a small summative, or this could be a formative assessment if I was still going with this lesson. So they're working with a partner, and they go back through all of the handouts. There's a bunch of different handouts that we did today. Again, I haven't implemented this yet. I'm about to do that this semester. And then they discuss everything, and then they write a 10-sentence or more reflection about what they learned today about cultural awareness. That particular session is written to be only 1 day. So it's not a multi-day lesson. So this might be the summative assessment for the day. So then I give them prompts too. I say, consider the prompts. They don't have to write exactly what I'm asking them, but this just sort of starts them off. What is cultural awareness? How do you become culturally aware? And I'm not going to read all these. You can look at it. So here again would be a formative, depending on how I was doing the lesson, or a summative for the day, a small summative assessment as to what they learned throughout the lesson. I also, I know we're not really talking about rubrics, but I also have a class discussion rubric because it has a class discussion piece to the lesson. So I have this. This is pretty general, but just so the kids are going to know what exactly they're getting graded on. There's a bunch of different class discussions in this particular 6 units. Some I might grade, some I might not. I haven't decided that yet. Just so you know that if you're looking at this, the FADN, these are the Gwinnett Acquired Knowledge and Skills, what we call the AKS. We take the GSE, the Georgia Standards of Excellence, and we don't rewrite them. We just sort of review them and make sure they're going to work for our students in our communities. And then they get adopted through a public process, and then they're basically our GSE. Not too much different than the Georgia Standards. And then again, we're reflecting on the what we did that day, so I have a reflection writing rubric, and I certainly will drop these in the discussion or the documents if you'd like me to do that. No problem there. You would just have to adjust and look up the appropriate GSE for the rubric. And then the next time, bear with me again, the next one I elaborated on was who are you? And this is their own personal and cultural identity. And I did find this questionnaire on Teachers Paying Teachers. It was free. It was one of their free things. But I did go through it and sort of adjust it for my own purposes. There were some different kinds of questions, and I just rearranged it for my purposes. So it's a pretty long questionnaire. Goes through, again, this would be diagnostic because you are just sort of finding things out about them. This kind of questions, what language you speak, your immediate extended family. I do at the beginning of the year pretty much do surveys with, like, how many siblings do you have, what languages you speak, what are your favorite classes, that kind of thing. So I get to know the kids a little bit better, but this sort of digs a little bit deeper. Again, going through with my my big lesson plan or my curricula that I'm creating. Then we get into the movement. So that first lesson, there's no dance. So it's basically a day of no dance. You're just doing some written work. But here then they create a phrase based on their identity. And that's sort of open-ended. That could be anything. It gives them wide open space to choose from in what they want their movement to be like, if they're basing it on their own culture, their own personal identity. And so I'm gonna have them create the rubric right here. So this, I would imagine, I would label formative. So we've gone through what is cultural awareness, and we've talked about our own personal culture, and now we're creating a phrase based on that. And I'm having them create the rubric. So again, I have not implemented this yet, so this could, I'm hoping this is successful. And again, then I have a rubric for that phrase, so they know what I'm looking for. Clear connection to personal and cultural identity, working with a partner. Oh, because they're working with a partner for this part. So I think what I had them do is work with their partner, make the rubrics, and then one dancer dances and the other looks at the rubric, and they sort of score each other. Probably not for a grade, but just as a partner exercise. Working with the partner, and then the prepared phrase, the confident performance, and then the post-performance class discussion. So, and then again, in every single unit that I have for this big curricula, there's always a reflection writing at the end. So, and then 400 word, I don't know why I picked 400. This again would be a summative. They write, and I give them prompts. Again, I guess right there I ask them to consider some or all of the prompts. And then again, I have my reflection writing rubric. So I thought that might be interesting to know that, you can really do some meaningful assessment with worksheets rather than always going off that table, that rubric. There are other ways to assess students. I mean, it might be fun to step away from, the computer or whatever, another survey, another, something I gotta hop on the online platform to do. Here is a piece of paper. Here's something to write with. Let's do that. So just something different after this whole, 2 years of pandemic and being online. So I will put references in the discussion just so you know where I got this stuff. Not everything was created by me solely. And if you are interested in any of these lessons, I'm happy to share. So just leave me a message or, let's start a discussion about all this. Okay, then that is it for this assessment webinar, and I will see you next time. We are going to be talking about the National Honor Society for Dance Arts and how to start a chapter and all the things that are involved with that. So I will see you then.